When people are asked the question, what's the number one thing you want in life? What do you think the most common response is? It's happiness. Of course, it's the thing that everyone wants. We're all ultimately chasing it. But most of us are actually going about being happy the wrong way. In this video, we're going to talk about the surprising and counterintuitive truth to becoming happy. Welcome everybody, I'm Matt. If you're new to this channel, we help you on your personal growth and success journey by studying and inspiring people and producing motivational content. Definitely hit the subscribe button, it would really help me out. I'd really appreciate it a lot. We all want to be happy, but it's really hard when the grass always looks greener somewhere else. When we don't feel happy, we wonder why. And what answer do we get? Well, what's society's formula for happiness? It's that success equals happiness. So if we aren't happy, this must be why, right? We must not be successful enough. But how does this formula actually hold up? The author Sean Archer actually puts this brilliantly. He has some great examples of it. Well, how about Harvard Business School students? They're the brightest, most talented from all across the world. They've got into this school that so many people would just love to be in. It's so prestigious, it has the best facilities, the best teachers, all this kind of stuff. Surely those super successful, high-achieving people would be some of the happiest people in the world, right? If that formula is correct, if success really does equal happiness. Are they the happiest people in the world? Absolutely not. When surveyed, they're recorded as ranking low for happiness levels. And I know what you're thinking, oh my God, those poor, privileged, educated geniuses. Life's tough, right? I mean, if they could just get a break. Of course I'm joking, but this is surprising, right? Given their success, you'd think they'd be ecstatic. So what was happening? Well, for the first 2 weeks on campus, they were loving it. They felt privileged. These kids were always in the top 2% of any class they were in, primary school, secondary school, university. And now for the first time in their lives, 98% of them were no longer in the top 2%. 66% of them were average. Oh no, average, right? In the one thing that their whole identity was tied to, the thing they thought they were good at, they were now average. And what about the people who are now below average? Well, I mean, their world comes crashing down. They start looking around and again, the one thing they thought that they were good at, everyone else seems better. Now, the same survey was done in a kids' school in a lower income country. And an American teacher came in that day and he wanted to get the kids on side. So he used a tactic that normally goes down really well in America. He started off by saying, okay, everyone, who hates homework? And he's expecting a big cheer. There was dead silence. After a pause, a girl at the back of the class says, but I like homework. These kids scored really high on the same happiness surveys. And they didn't have many of the opportunities or luxuries of these Harvard Business School students. So what was different? The difference was their perspective. They viewed education as a privilege and they felt so lucky to have the chance to go to school and do homework and learn that on a day-to-day basis, they were far happier as a result. So what does this mean? It means that our happiness, it's not dictated by the external world, but by the way our brains process the external world. And we have the power to control how we see the world and how we choose to perceive it. Studies have shown that happy people, or people who are in better positive mindsets, perform significantly better. They've got 30% more creativity, 30% more cognitive ability, 30% more energy. I mean, how would your life change if you had 30% more energy and were 30% smarter? It would change the whole trajectory of your life. Your relationships would be better, your work performance would be better, your health would be better. Everything. Can you imagine the demand for that if it was a pill? So what does this mean? Well, if happiness really does improve our chances of success, well, then we need to flip this happiness formula we were talking about. Success doesn't equal happiness. Happiness instead equals success. If you can become happier right now, your chances of being successful are going to significantly improve. And plus, you get to be happy in the process. So this has to be the goal. So the big question then is, how do you be happy right now? Well, there's 3 things you can do that are proven to have a significant impact on people's happiness levels. So the first thing you need to do is become part of a community where you are needed. There's a lot of anthropology studies out there, and they show that we're wired to be part of communities. For thousands of years, people were in tribes of just a few hundred people, and you had people around you all the time. You had all these social connections. And the reason why it was much more beneficial to be in groups back then, you needed to survive, to find food, to find shelter, to help you fend off, animals or different types of attacks. And still to this day, we crave those human connections. We are innately social creatures. The reality is, if you don't have those connections, you will always feel like you're missing something. So what do you need to do? You need to be part of a community in which you are needed. And for anyone thinking, okay, don't worry, I've got this one sorted, I've got 1,000 Facebook friends. Unfortunately, your Facebook friends or Instagram followers, they don't count. You need real connections. You need to be part of something where people are inter-reliant on one another. It's no coincidence that depression rates are highest amongst affluent people who tend to be more isolated. They live in big houses, they have big gardens, they probably don't know any of their neighbors. And if you're isolated and lonely, it almost doesn't matter if every other part of your life is going really well. You're going to find it really hard to be truly happy. There's a lot of happiness surveys that show that there's people in lower income countries that have higher happiness levels than those in some higher income countries. And a large part of the reason for that is in some of these lower income countries, they have stronger family ties. They have more connections with people. I always think that you can probably handle a lot going wrong in your life if you have good people around you, if you've got good friends. Become part of a community in which you're needed. The second way to be happy right now is to experience progress. Get better at things, especially new things. We are the descendants of people who were rewarded for progress. There's a mechanism in us that craves progress. Try thinking of the last time you did something new and you got better at it. Maybe it was a skill, or you learned to cook something, or picked up a sport. It feels so good. Getting better at things is really rewarding, especially if you can do it with other people. And this is where it's linked to the first point. If you can make this progress in a community of similar-minded people where you can add value to the group, you'll then be recognized for what you're doing, and you'll be making progress at a new skill. If you kind of combine all these things together, it's going to give you real fulfillment. Evolutionarily, anything that helps our chances of survival feels good. So things like achieving new things, learning new information, making friends, making real connections with people. And anything that hinders our chances of survival feels bad. So things like isolation, alienation from the group, stagnation, lack of progress, lack of challenges in life. Our brains are wired to give us chemical incentives or punishments to lead us to act or not act in certain ways. Think of the good feeling you get when you meet new people and you have a great time just laughing and joking with them. And compare this to the feeling you have if you've ever been antisocial for a while, not really talking to many people. This can make you really depressed. And the third thing you can do to increase your happiness right now is to practice gratitude. This is how you change your perspective and appreciate the things that you already have in your life right now. I actually did a full video on this topic, specifically on this area of how to practice gratitude. So definitely check it out. It'll be in the description below and it'll pop up somewhere on the screen here. So as a quick summary, gratitude is the simple practice of thinking of the good things in our lives, noticing them, being aware of them, and appreciating them. It's pretty simple. Every morning or evening, think of 3 things you're grateful for, write them down or just think of them in your head, but really find that feeling within you of gratefulness, true appreciation. Hold on to that feeling, be with that feeling, breathe with that feeling. I like to think that it's not the happiness that makes you grateful, it's the gratefulness that makes you happy. To wrap this up, guys, we have the formula backwards. Success does not equal happiness. Happiness equals success. Become part of a community that you're needed. Create real bonds with people. Make progress at things that matter to you. And change your perspective by practicing gratitude. These are the steps to becoming a genuinely happy person. They'll make you perform better at work. They'll help you have better cognitive ability. You'll be smarter. You'll have more energy, more creativity. You'll be giving yourself the best opportunity to be successful. I hope you liked the video. If you did, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out. I'd really appreciate it. Definitely like and comment as well. Check out some of the other videos that will be popping up on the left-hand side here. And finally, if there's any topics, YouTubers, or YouTube channels you'd like to see me cover, let me know in the comments below. That's it for me, guys. Thanks for joining me. I'm Matt. See you next time.